Let's move to the street of London. Let's bring in Juliana Olainka for details from there. Good morning, Juliana. Well, the government unveiled aid for self-employed people. What is contained in this package?
Good morning, Chimeze. Thank God it's Friday, especially from here in the UK. Well, yes, yesterday night, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, did unveil this £9 billion package for the supposed 5 million self-employed workers up and down the United Kingdom. This was quite a controversial part of the government's final jigsaw puzzle piece. Not everybody will be receiving the benefits, and it is a little bit complicated, and that's one of the reasons why it took the government so long, or over a week, to try and compensate the self-employed because of just how much tax will be paid. So last time, for those who are in full-time employment, the government said that they would pay up to 80% of your monthly payment to the tune of £2,500, to be capped at £2,500. And that's a similar amount that he will be giving self-employed workers, but only if you manage to put your tax for 2018 and 2019 in. So if you've been self-employed for less than a year, you won't be able to get this money. Also, as well, if you earn over £50,000 or you've got profits of over £50,000, you also won't be eligible for this. And also, there was kind of a stark warning when he did mention these grants available to the self-employed, saying that potentially next year there would be a discussion about how much tax the self-employed will be paying to the Treasury, because at the moment, if you're self-employed, you pay less tax, and that's really because you don't get the benefits of employment from the government as you do with others. So for many, it was a huge sigh of relief, but for others, there's a little bit of frustration, because if you earn too much, you won't get anything, and if you've been self-employed for less than a year, you also don't get anything. So a mixed bag, but yes, I think the government feel as if, you know, this is the last piece that they needed to put into this massive COVID-19 puzzle.
And many workers in the UK are complaining that they are not being adequately protected against the coronavirus. The government had said anyone who cannot do their job from home should continue to go to work as long as their employer follows Public Health England safety guidelines. This should be a concern to the government. And is there anything being done to correct this?
At the moment, Chimeze, to be honest, not really. What the government have said is if you can't keep 2 meters apart, stay at home. And I think at the beginning of this week, because these measures are very, very new, it feels as if 24 hours is about 24 days in this situation. But it was only Monday night that Prime Minister Boris Johnson gave this extensive lockdown. It was only this time last week that he asked restaurants and bars and clubs to shut. So I think a lot of workplace environments are still going through exactly what can and can't be done, who is an essential worker, who isn't an essential worker. You know, the public travel has become a lot more clear. A lot less people are going into work now. And I do know that British Transport Police do have police officers marked at different stations questioning people on whether or not they can work. That has helped a little bit, but there are still so many places that are considered essential, and it is difficult to keep that space. For example, if you go to a lot of these shopping centres and a lot of these logistic warehouses, they're very, very close. A lot of big organisations have been named and shamed. I don't need to mention too many of them, but there's one particular delivery company and their staff are furious because, of course, so many people are going online at the moment and they're exceptionally busy. And they're saying, you know, when they're in their warehouses, they're toe-to-toe with their employees, and it's not those 2 meters that the government have advised. So who knows? I think at the moment, a lot of focus here in the UK and across mainland Europe is on NHS workers, is on getting them their personal protection equipment. And I believe, you know, once that situation has been resolved, perhaps then the Business Secretary and the rest of the government cabinet will start looking at individual business workplace policies.
And supermarkets will use a government database of 1.5 million vulnerable shoppers to help prioritize delivery slots. Tell us more about this.
Well, this is, again, another logistics issue that we're having with this COVID-19 crisis here in the UK. Stockpiling, I must say, has started to reduce over the past couple of days. And really, it's because a lot of these groceries stores have used their initiative to allow individuals, especially the vulnerable and the disabled and those who are most at risk, to come into the stores at certain times of the day. But of course, the government have advised if you're over 70, you shouldn't even be going out in the first place. And they're asking a lot of these customers to order their groceries online. Alas, a lot of people are going online. You cannot get a slot for at least 3 or 4 weeks, which is no time at all. I mean, which is way too much time. And so what these grocery stores have been finding is that many of these vulnerable people are going out, going into the stores. They're interacting with people that they shouldn't be. And this is a cause for concern. So yes, a lot of these big department stores, are particularly the big four. So we're talking Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Morrison's, Asda. They've teamed up with the government and they're looking at lists. So a lot of people are registered on their bonus schemes. You know, they're reaching out to them. They're giving them these valid slots that they need. And some people are actually taking food to their home. So there's lots of logistics going on in the UK at the moment. But we're getting through it. And hopefully there should be more positive news over the weekend.
All right, Juliet, I guess I can join you now and say thank God it's Friday. But don't forget, you have more updates for us later in the day.